I'm Mindy Johnson, one of the employee benefits attorneys at Foster Swift. And today I want to talk about a somewhat significant issue as it relates to your qualified retirement plans. And that issue relates to plan failures. Now, this may seem like a big deal, but there may be situations that are brought to your attention by your plan auditor or by a new third-party administrator that you hire that reflect that the plan has not been operated in accordance with its terms. So basically, the plan document says one rule, but the third-party administrator or other plan administrator is operating under a different rule. And I'll give you a couple of examples that oftentimes come across my desk. The first example deals with employee eligibility requirements. Now, the plan may designate that all employees are permitted to participate in the elective deferral portion of their plan and make 401k contributions to their plan upon attaining age 21 and after having worked at the employer for a period of 60 days. So even though the plan requirements are clear in the plan document, the operations may not effectively permit that employee to participate in the plan by that 60-day deadline. So that's a plan failure. A second example is when the plan document specifies specific criteria for an employee participant to receive an employer contribution for a plan year. And a lot of times plans do require that an employee must work 1,000 hours of service during the plan year in order to be entitled to an employer profit sharing contribution. But let's say that even though the plan terms say that, the operation of the plan effectively requires the participant to work 1,000 hours, but also be employed by the last day of the plan year. So the result of the plan operation is that some employees who may terminate employment during the year, even after they work 1,000 hours, will not be permitted to receive an employer contribution, although they were entitled to that contribution as a result of the terms of the plan document. That discrepancy is a plan failure. And one final example I want to mention happens in a situation when an employee terminates employment from one employer, but then transfers to a brother-sister company or an affiliated company of that employer that's within the same controlled group. As a result of that first termination, the participant elects to receive a distribution from their 401k plan account and receives it. But the fact that they transferred within the company's controlled group of corporations means that they were not entitled to that distribution, and that's a plan failure. Now, plan failures can be fairly serious. If they are uncovered, corrective action should be taken immediately because there are negative tax consequences both to the plan sponsor, to the participants who are involved, and to the plan itself. And some of those consequences can be as severe as the Internal Revenue Service disqualifying that plan, which makes all of those assets immediately taxable, which would be a significant problem. But the Internal Revenue Service has understood that certain operational failures routinely occur when plans are administered. So it has outlined specific steps that a plan sponsor and administrator can take in order to correct those problems. It's outlined those steps in a procedure called the Employee Plans Compliance Resolution System. And those corrections are available in the event that that plan is not currently under an Internal Revenue Service audit. And there are two different avenues that the plan sponsor and plan administrator can pursue in order to correct that problem. By following the steps outlined in that EPCRS program, the error is corrected. Then the plan administrator and sponsor has the choice to pursue correction through self-correction or through the voluntary correction program. So I want to just distinguish a little bit between those two. Self-correction is or can be as easy as it sounds, just a self-correction of that problem without any report or notification to the Internal Revenue Service. The benefit of that approach is that you're not alerting the IRS to the problem and you're not paying any fee or penalty associated with it. The downside of that approach is that you don't have any assurance from the IRS that in the event of a subsequent audit, they won't penalize the plan. The second procedure is the Voluntary Correction Program, or VCP. This procedure involves a formal application process in which you identify the plan failure that took place and the steps that were taken to correct it. And that submission is mailed to the IRS, who will then review it and hopefully approve the correction steps that were taken. The benefit of this approach is that if the submission was approved by the IRS, it insulates the plan from additional exposure and liability in the event of an IRS audit at a later time. The detriment of that approach is that you are notifying the IRS of the issue, and in some cases would involve the payment of a fairly substantial submission fee. Now, the submission fee is based on the number of participants in your plan and can range from $500 up to $15,000, just depending on the number of participants. My suggestion, in the event that you uncover an operational failure or other failure with regard to your qualified retirement plan, would be to contact an attorney so that you can get the best advice about how you can correct it and insulate the plan from further exposure to liability. The contact information for our employee benefits group is on the bottom of your screen. We look forward to your call.